Welcome to all our attendees and to our panelists tonight. We are very happy to welcome you for this first career talks of the academic year. So tonight we take the opportunity to share with you the insights of three of our alumni, ex-students. So I would like to introduce tonight Mr. Gary Gayet. So we can move to the next slide, Gregory.
There you go.
Okay, so Gary is a graduate from the class of 2013, and he now works as a private banker and the assistant vice president at Barclays Bank in Monaco. We have tonight also with us Ms. Camilla Derbo, who is a graduate of year 2016. She's the assistant portfolio manager at Monaco Asset Management. And we have with us also tonight Mr. Franck Rivière, who is a graduate of 2018, and he works for a single family office also in Monaco. So they will share all the details with you. I would like to tell a word about you, maybe Gregory.
All right.
So Dr. Gregory Moscato is also with us tonight. He's a program director for the Master in Finance. What's very special about Gregory is that he's also a graduate of IUM, but an MBA graduate, class of 2003. He's been working in the finance industry since 2001, and is a professor at IUM since also 2003. Very important, he has been a broker and trader for 3 years on Wall Street. So he will also be able to share his insights with you about the finance industries and the different paths you can take during and after your studies. So basically we are going to start the presentation. Dr. Moscato will introduce very shortly the program of the Master in Finance, and then we will have some questions and answers for alumni. Of course, you will be able to ask your questions. So you have two different options. You can directly write the questions in the Q&A section, or you can raise your hands, and then we will give you the word one by one, so you can ask your questions directly to one or several of our panelists tonight. So Gregory, we can start now. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much. Now, the Masters in Finance is, of course, a program that has been devised with one objective in mind, which is to prepare the best we can our students for the coming careers ahead. And one particular dimension of a Masters in Finance, when we say finance, it means so many different types of careers. Now, the Masters itself focuses mainly on what you would call front office positions. So either those who are directly in contact with clients, or those who are analyzing, trading the market, being involved in the actual management of the assets. So this is our really core focus, and it is well reflected when you look at the career dimension of it. So once our students graduate, you can see that there is a variety of ways we place our students within the financial industry. So you can see here a number of different perspectives. Most, of course, of our students 3 months after graduation are actually working. Some may pursue some further education, either pursuing a second education type of MBA or PhD or doctorate. Some may still be looking a position, very few typically. And we have also a tradition of having 1 or 2 students per year who build their own companies. Now, of course, we get into finance for a number of reasons. Part of the reason is, well, we are typically passionate about finance, and we really like to interact both with clients or markets or both. And the second reason why we like finance typically is because these tends to be, at least when you're facing successful careers, this tends to be financially rewarding. So Here you can see a salary range, which is typical of what you can expect. Now, of course, most professors and most professionals would tell you that it's hard to measure how good your career is going to be just in the first months or even sometimes in the first years following your graduation, because indeed, once you graduate, you still have everything to prove in the professional sector. Hence, you have to push for quite some time, but at least it gets you a perspective on a 3 months post-graduation basis, what you can expect. And as you can also see, not only we are having a placement a lot in Monaco, clearly, a majority of students still choose to target Monaco as the first step professionally wise after graduation. But the rest is mainly focused on Western and as well as Northern Europe. And, of course, we have those who are either Americans or have the visas related, also go back to America, and we have a few Middle Eastern. And as you can see, very, very few so far people going to go beyond, I would say, Southeast Asia. It sort of stops around Eastern Europe. From the placement by industry, you can see, you don't need me, but we have a variety of sectors, from the asset management to the family office, to the private banks, to the funds, to the fund of funds, etc. So again, quite a big, broad diversification of potential careers and potential firms. So talking about position themselves, I mentioned front office positions. So we're talking about portfolio managers, financial analysts. Analyst, I would say, is in the many different ways the most common initial job that our students go after and successfully integrate. But of course, for those who are targeting on the private banking side in particular, positions towards more client relationship based. So you may have either assistants to private bankers, or sometimes on the advisory side, we have that's, I would say, core focus. Of course, some of our students are going to focus a bit more on the tax planning dimension, or even sometimes on the real estate components. So we have, as you can see, a rather large spectrum of positions that awaits from our students. We've put a number of companies out there. As you can see, these are some of the biggest brand names you can find out there. But our students find positions in many, many different type of institutions, including many independent asset management companies, particularly in Monaco, which is a rather rich for asset management companies, and also alternative asset managers and private equity. So again, you're having a rather large spectrum there. So Masters in Finance, we're rather technical. We are trying to be as practical as we can, because again, the goal, the ultimate goal, is to prepare students for the next step, the next professional step. So if we're going to talk about the next professional step, well, with people who were in your shoes, a few years back, and now are walking the walk, and can provide you and me a perspective of what was it like, what were their overall trajectory, and to reflect back a bit on what the school has brought to them, and also what it took after school, because this is probably one of the most important dimensions. Is once you graduate, it's just the beginning. So maybe I'd like to start, well, we have two panelists, so, out of courtesy, of course, we are going to ask was Camila. Just in a nutshell, could you tell us what you're working at right now, what position you're in, what companies you're in right now?
Yeah, sure. I'm a portfolio manager in a company of asset management called the Monaco Asset Management, without so much imagination. And I started just after the graduation at IUM 4 years ago. And probably nobody knows about this company, but it's one of the most, the biggest asset manager company in Monaco.
Did you do an internship before targeting this company?
Yes, this was my first internship when I finished the Master in Finance at IUM. And after the internship, they proposed me to stay. So they proposed me a limited contract and then a permanent one. So.
Right. And well, now you have a couple of years now, or well, actually more than a couple of years, 4 years now behind yourself. When you think about your current position and you think about your career trajectory, what do you see?
That's a good point. Actually, in 4 years, I've seen so many changes, so many projects in this company. That's why I'm still there. And probably in the next years, the next decades, I'm still I'm seeing a lot of changes on the asset management part, but also on the client relationship part. So I still improving, still learning, and I can say I will be in probably 10 years, 15 years, but in the next years, I'm pretty sure I will stay in Monaco Asset Management. And
right. Okay, thank you. How about you, Gary? Because you have a completely different choice. You're on the wealth management side, and then could you walk us through what happened to you once you graduated? What did you do? How did you get basically where you are now?
Sure. So basically, when I graduated, right before graduating, I was doing an internship for 6 months at Barclays already as an assistant private banker. Then I had the opportunity with a very good timing, some resignation in my team. So I had a permanent contract directly. And I stayed for 4 years and a half assistant of a senior private banker. And now it's for, let's say, 1 year and a half or 2 years now, I'm a private banker with my own portfolio, own client portfolio. Yeah.
And a bit same question that I had for Camila. When you start to think about yourself for maybe the coming few years ahead, what do you see? What's on your mind?
On my mind, it's to remain private banker, definitely, because I still have a lot to learn, and like from every single type of clients I have, where I would say still at Barclays, but the banking industry is changing so much at the moment. We see a lot of turnover between banks, so we never know what's going on. But if I would say something today, I would say that within 4 or even 5 years, I would remain private banker at Barclays with the biggest portfolio, of course, I hope, but I will stay here for the moment.
All right, thank you very much. So Camila, when you think about your job and what you're doing currently, what motivates you? What really gets you every morning up and fiery?
In this moment, not market at all, but in general, actually, no, I'm joking, but the variety of all the tasks and projects I deal with, like not on a regular basis, not every day, but every period, every month, I'm deal with different projects, different from analysis to different asset class, from private equity to funds to making analysis for example, the clients, meeting them. So the variety of my job is the most attractive part of my job, I would say.
How about you, Gary? What gets you up in the morning?
Well, the main part of my job as a private banker, I would say, most of the time I say that my core business is not even the private bank, but it's more the client himself. So basically what I love in my job is meeting clients and the way to learn how they did their wealth. This is the main part of the business, and then to go along their career with them and to develop them, to target new clients, and to deal with all their daily matters. So I mean, like the basic banking stuff, let's say investments, but also managing portfolios, proposing and structuring their debt, for example. And also as a private banker, I'm doing few things which they are not in their core business of the bank. For example, when I'm meeting them for other matters for their private life. So what I love in my job, it's like I don't have typical day. Let's say when I wake up in the morning and I come to the bank, okay, I have a list of things to do, but I never know what will happen regarding, for example, if something happens to the market, but also when client would like to meet for banking stuff or something else. And I'm meeting a lot of people every day. So this is what I love the most in my job, the
All right.
interaction with people.
Very well. Very well. Um, so this one, it's already answered. I mean, both of you, in fact, managed to convert your internships into full-time positions. Um, You've seen also others doing it in your respective classes. Would you say this was the norm? Was this more the exception? Um, what challenges did you see others maybe having that you found you managed maybe not to be confronted with? Camila, maybe starting?
Yeah, let me think about it. I would say when I finished the master in finance, most of my colleagues or most of my classmates were working in Monaco. Now we are a bit less, but not because they were not happy here, but mostly because here it's Monaco. Like if you're living, as you said, if you're American, then you have probably problem with visa, so you have to come back home, or maybe because you have X reason and you want to leave. But I have still friends, classmates work in Monaco. Most of them in banks. I don't know. Nobody's working asset manager companies, but only from my here.
All right. How about you, Gary?
Same here. I think we are, from my promotion, we are 5, all in banks, in Monaco. So the challenge, I would say the timing, because for example, me, I have been converted from interns to a permanent contract, but it was a bit of luck because I was in good timing. I was in the bank and there were no positions opened, and I was about to leave, and then someone resigned from my team, so I get the opportunity to get a contract. Or for example, people graduating now, I know, like for example, sometimes it's not a good timing for recruitments. So big challenge is this, but this is not under their control. Then after, to go back to what Camilla said, yeah, for the nationality, sometimes a bit of problem. I know that in banks, if you do not speak French, sometimes it's a bit complicated because the law is in French. So I know it's less the case in asset management companies, but
Yes.
this could also be a limit.
That's right.
Exactly, I totally agree. I've been lucky because when I start working in Monaco Asset Management, my company, I was speaking only English. But during the internship, I learned French, and it's not mandatory because everybody speaks English, but it helps. So if I have to give us tips for new students, is to learn French, because in Monaco is also Italian if you want, but French, it's important.
Yeah, especially for banks. Well, yeah. I mean, in a British bank, we have few colleagues that don't speak French, I know it may be the case in UBS or Julius Baer, but for the banks, if you do not speak French, could be a bit difficult.
Exactly.
I would agree. How much exposure did you get to the career services that we have at IUM, and how much did it help you? I mean, what do you remember, in fact, of those of this time that you had during those 10 months where you had the career services, and how did you leverage those career services to get where you are now?
I first remember knocking at Sophie's door to look.
Sophie De Lorenzo is our head officer for that. That's right.
No, what I do remember, it's like we received a lot of offers from this service through email or even on corridors at the IUM. A lot of offers, and I got this internship through an offer from Barclays to IUM, and then I never left Barclays, so it was quite helpful for me.
How about you, Camila?
I remember also we attended to several seminars, how to prepare in the CV, how to prepare an interview, how to prepare yourself to don't be stressful for an interview. And as you said, Gary, we had different offers by email. And if I'm not wrong, I also had few interviews at university, organized by IUM with few banks.
Indeed, yeah. Through the career days, we've been able to do that. In fact,
and also a very good thing. Sorry, Gregory. Because many of teachers, lecturers, they are professionals as well. So they are sometimes helping us with their contact, because Monaco, everyone is very well connected, and as professionals, they were very helpful when they did not hesitate to forward contacts or even sending CVs on our behalf to their colleagues. This was really helpful.
And if I can add also, it was very diversified in terms of offers, because one was not only banks or asset management, but it was also funds, as you said, Gregory, before, and accounting, if I'm not wrong. Okay, it's not financial, but I had few classmates decide to enter in accounting in auditors firms, and they found their job from IUM.
Yeah, typically, I mean, again, we try to work in two different ways, in fact, and to get there. Sometimes we have specific players, and I'm thinking in particular for family offices that want exclusive access, or some private equity, for example, companies where it doesn't mean they will only look at our students, but they will mainly look at our students, and they will still confront them with maybe 3 to 5 other candidates, and typically asking us to try to identify the ideal, I would say, 3 match from the particular year program. So that's a big, exclusive channel that we have. But on the other hand, and this has continued to be reinforced year after year, we benefit also simply from the network we have as an educational institution through the certification programs, because, well, as you both know, in order to operate in front office positions in Monaco, you need to be certified, and all certifications are actually delivered at Monaco, at IUM. And lately, we even launched a new certification, and that certification led to us certifying some like 3,000 finance and banking professionals. So that creates a number of networks, that also creates a number of goodwills with simply HRs from those various firms, because they get to know us, they get to interact with us. Some of them, through those exposure, come back to us when they have specific needs, and when they don't, it still get us a specific access, at least We know them, we have an access door, we can at least give an introduction and try to provide a little push that sometimes make a difference in between being totally anonymous and suddenly, being there with an introduction. So, and this year actually we complemented it by also trying to link even more alumni, so yourselves, with current students by relaunching what we had in the past, and we just relaunched it last year, the mentorship program. And that mentorship program is also another way to help students get a different perspective than the one they get at IOM with the professors, with the other students, with the career service. That different angle coming from someone that was in their shoes just a few years back also makes a big difference often. This we of course had. Probably this is what most students and prospect students have in mind, but what would you say? Now, you have a few years now looking back at what you did during your studies, what you did after your studies, with a bit of insight. What type of advice would you give to those coming after you?
Can I?
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Camilla.
Okay, sorry. I'm thinking about my internship a few years ago. It has been pretty tough, but I was prepared. Okay, working is completely different from studying, but the master in finance at IOM gave me great basis, financial basis. So if I would have to give an advice to new students, is to be really focused, but really focus on classes, especially the first semester. Also the second one, the second, the third, because it's more the specialization. But the first classes based on evaluation, portfolio management, and the statistics as well, gave me really important basis. So this is.
So focus on studying. I like that.
Focus on studying. Yeah.
I cannot complain with such an advice.
And
it's really important.
Since the beginning, because it's quite tough if you don't follow, but it's worth it, honestly, to be focused.
Yes.
And if I could give another advice now,
Please.
a few years, I would say, try, if you have the opportunity, to get in touch as much as you can with professionals already, because for example, sometimes we are studying and we think, okay, in banks it's like this, and then when we arrive, it's not how we think, or an asset manager. Now I can realize, because I'm a mentor for students now, and she came to the bank and she asked me a lot of questions, and this changes a bit the way she saw the bank. So you have the opportunity in Monaco to get in touch with a lot of professionals. So as much as you can, try. You can, or even me, if you want to send me an email and you would like to have a coffee to share your thought with not only the bank, but the financial industry or any other type of question. If you have the opportunity, please take it, because it's very good to exchange with professionals when we are students.
Well, thank you. How about Camilla? Outside of study hard while you're at it, how about once you leave, once you graduate? Because very often students may feel that the graduation represents some kind of, yes, we made it. And you do, and of course you work so much, it's a real celebration, but it's really just the beginning. So how about those next steps once you're not anymore at the university? Well, what advice would you give them?
The next step is that I enjoyed so much studying at IUM, and then I decided to study again. So now I'm studying for the CFA. No, next step, it's completely different studying than working. Looks like ages I was studying at IUM, but it's actually 4 years. So I'm really enjoying my work I love my job, so it's completely different. But as I said before, it's really important the basis you gave us, you as the students. So every day is a new day, and every day I'm learning. So it's important to have the basis, but then it's really important also to learn how to use your knowledge and learn and like give more than every day. I don't know if I transfer my message,
Sure.
but actually I start working before the graduation, the ceremony, because after the internship I've started working immediately. And when we party, okay, we had the party, it was great, but I was already on the new world of job. So I feel like every day it's my new day at work, and I'm really happy to have chosen to come to Monaco and doing IOM, only the master, because actually I've done my bachelor in Italy, but it has been a great choice for me.
All right. Thank you so much. Udre, I just see you.
Yes. Actually, we have a question coming from Giovanni with us tonight. And well, this is an interesting question because this is something that we all went through regarding the COVID situation. It would like to know actually how that impacted, if that impacted, and how that impacted your work actually, Camilla and Gary, and how is it now?
The impact, well, first of all, as I said, one of the most part of my job is the client relationship. So basically not seeing clients for almost 3 months was a bit hard. Working from home, it's completely unusual for our industry, either asset management or bank. It was very, not very complicated. It was a big change, but we went through this. And now I'm back to the bank, let's say for 3 weeks. So more and more we start again to see clients. So this is a good part. The other one is the impact on markets. That's been very tough because clients with high exposures, they were they were cold already with margins and everything. So it was a bit challenging. Plus working from home with not all of our devices and everything was a bit challenging. Well, this was the most impact I've seen. And I'm sure regarding markets, Camilla had
hard time.
Yeah, I'm sure you had. Yeah, but it was very nice to, well, not very nice, but you will understand me. But it was very interesting to go through this situation because you learn a lot from this, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. For me, the impact was different in the sense that I started doing smart working a few weeks ago. So during the tough period, I was at the office because all of my colleagues were at home, and I was the only one with other 2 guys at the office. So it was tough because of markets, because I couldn't meet my clients, because really markets actually. And hopefully this period is done for a moment. Now we are still half at smart working, half at the office, and probably in a few weeks everybody will be back, not at normality, but be back at office. So the COVID, the virus impacted my job, the jobs of everybody, but probably in a few weeks we'll be back to normality. Now it's better now. Okay. And hopefully markets are quiet.
Yeah.
A bit.
Thank you very much for your insights. Our last panelist just arrived. Actually, Franck Rivière is with us tonight. He told us that he will join a bit later. So Franck, welcome.
Thank you very much, Audrey. It's a pleasure to be here. Nice to see some familiar faces here. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Frank.
So Frank, we've been through the questions that you can see on the screen. So basically, maybe you can start by telling us a bit about yourself, where you're working now, what company, and explain a bit your career path also.
Sure. Can I just ask how many people are in the webcast? Like,
we have 10 attendees right now, and the 6 of us.
okay, so they will ask questions as well after, or?
Yes, well, everybody's welcome to ask questions. So you can, as I said, you can raise your hand or you can send your questions in the Q&A section.
Right. Okay, so thanks, Audrey. Thanks, Gregory, for inviting me to this webcast. Just a few words about myself. My name is Frank. I'm half Swiss, half French. And I moved to study at the University of Monaco, graduated in 2018 in finance, wealth management, and private banking. And so where are you working now? That's the first question. So actually, I started in a family office, single family office, and that was close to 2 years ago. I currently work as the investment director in this single family office. And what I like about that job, maybe I'm just going, a bit through the questionnaire, is very diverse. We have a very wide palette of investments. We invest in real estate. We invest in stocks, like all the plain vanilla financial investments, stocks, bonds, also derivatives. We invest in private equity, venture capital. So it's quite a broad universe, and that's really, really interesting because it keeps challenging you. Obviously, you learn a lot pretty much every day. I'm just actually out of a call with some property developers looking at Manhattan real estate in New York, and so you are very much challenged, and you learn a lot across different asset classes, which I think is great. So that's basically the first question. Can you explain your career path? I'm probably a bit of, like the outlier here because I decided to change careers. I was many years in the FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, in the cosmetic industry with Procter & Gamble, for instance, on marketing and sales roles, go-to-market strategies, regional management. And I had a big passion for investments. And when I was in Geneva in the European, Middle East, Africa headquarters of P&G, I was, tempted to make the move already. I had a lot of friends like Gary working, as relationship managers, for prestigious banks. And I thought that was, a fantastic job because you would deal with investments, you would also deal with people, a lot of relationship. And, that was like a very attractive, proposal for me. But then I had worked so hard, my career. And so I thought, like I was, like a commercial leader, European headquarters, P&G. So I thought, this is a great career. And I decided to not take the step. And, further down the road, I revisited that and I decided to actually follow my passion. I stopped my career and I decided to go in investments. And I understood that I had to go back to school, which is quite humbling, when you are 40. I think I was 42 back then. So never too late. That's also, never too late to follow your passions and to, open that door that you might have closed before, maybe not for the right reasons. And so just go for it, follow, your passion, because what I understood when I was in cosmetic is that if you don't burn with passion, it's really difficult to compete. First, it's not really enjoyable. Why would you do something when you're not really passionate about? And then you don't have that passion. You don't have that engine that is really like such a force, so you can't really compete. And then I decided, to follow that passion and go in investments, in finance. And quite humbling, I decided to go back to the university and I really enjoyed, obviously, the quality of the learning there, the teaching, the proximity with the teachers. It's felt almost like being, having private sessions, with the teachers, because people are very approachable. That was great learning. I enjoyed the topics so much because it was my decision to go and learn, which was quite different, from before when I was a student, back when I was 20, 23. I was, studying, business, and there were some classes I was not so sure if I was so interested in, because maybe it was not such a choice, but that was such a definite choice now. I just loved the material and loved interacting with our professors like Gregory Moscato and his team. So my advice to you guys is really follow your passion, and you've got to have a lot of passion, I think, in any fields where you go, whether it's tech, finance, there's a lot of competition. You want to shine, you want to grow, and passion is such a strong force. And yeah, you've got to love finance a lot to go that path of the master in finance. So I took this decision, went back to school, enjoyed it a lot, and actually it worked really well because I got so much support from the university from the beginning. Maybe also I was not really the easy candidate either, right? With 42, you change jobs, complete career change, so it's not maybe a straightforward case. And the university gave me so much support in terms of career counseling, connecting me with people, getting me to meet the right people, and networking, which is really important. Yeah, they basically, gave me opportunities. And the last opportunity, which is actually the fourth question, how long did it take to find a job? And how did IUM help you develop your career? I remember getting this phone call during summer 2018. And so I had basically just graduated, and I thought, okay, now I'm gonna have a little break, take a few weeks off, and then I'm gonna have to search for a job, because it's great, I studied well, I finished valedictorian, fantastic, I was doing my CFA as well, everything was great, but the real challenge was to find a job, right? It's great to be a good student, it's great to have great credentials, but you really want, to get a job. That's really the key. And so I said, yeah, I'm gonna take a few weeks off, and then we'll see. And I remember getting this phone call from no one else than our director of the program, saying, hey, we have this family office looking for a profile like you. Would you like to have a chat? And so I was obviously, over the moon. And so I did have a chat, a few chats, and actually very fast, within a few weeks, I ended up, starting there, really like completely thanks to the IUM, I have to say. So they brought me this job on a silver plate. And so it's like shooting a penalty, I still had to shoot the penalty, but, I had good conditions thanks to the university. So big thank you to you guys for that. Yeah, so talk about what I love about the job, how I found the job, or how you guys found the job for me, IUM. How did IUM help develop your career? Yeah, I think it's really, you guys helped me to broaden my horizon, to understand what are the possibilities. And I think you were very good at that. When I had some interviews with the IUM, I remember I had different interviews, right, with different schools. I was impressed by the IUM approach of this can-do attitude, understanding, the drive of the person, the skills of the person, and understanding with that package, we can do something. We can do something great. And I remember having other discussions with other universities, which was like a bit a cookie cutter, like, well, no, you don't really fit in, it's gonna be complicated, and I think you guys had the right attitude, this opening opportunities. And that's then what I found when I studied there, is connecting with the right person. And I think Monaco is quite unique in the sense that you have this microcosmos, this where not only the geography is very is kind of tiny, so everything is approachable within walking distance, so to speak, but also people are very approachable. And I think that's quite unique also for Monaco. Remember when you guys arranged this conference, we were attending a conference where the finance minister was basically speaking to all the heads of the main banks of Monaco. And we were like, just, simple students, and we could be there sitting with all these big shots and listening, to what they had to say to the finance minister in the same room. I think that's quite unique. So you have these people being approachable, and I think the IUM is really the bridge, that links you to these people. So that's, I think, how you helped me grow my career. If my internship was in line with my current job, yes and no. No, in the sense that I did not start where I did my internship because of my age limit. I was not able to do a classical internship, so I decided to do a thesis, and I looked, at the share of wealth of the assets that are managed, the share of the residents, the share of wealth of the Monaco residents, what share of that is managed in Monaco in the banks, to understand, the opportunity as well and the strategy to capture more of that total asset. I did it, with the bank. I did it with, I think I can give the name, it's fine, no?
Sure.
Yeah, so I did that thesis with Rothschild, the bank. I'm sure some of you will know the bank. And I had the pleasure to work actually with the CEO of the bank for the research, together with our director of the program, Gregory Moscato. And so that was a very interesting research that I did. It did not lead to my current job, and because you never know what's next. So that's also why it's also important to be good at relating to people, to be always on the lookout, to build your network. I think you guys, Camilla and Gary, I think you are really, great at this. You can probably confirm how critical it is, right? No matter what industry you're in, relating to people, connecting is super important. Actually, just for the little story, one of the students invited me to one of the Oktoberfest, one of the parties. There are a lot of parties, obviously, Monaco, you can meet so many people. That was the Oktoberfest of the Monaco Yacht Club. And at that table, I was sitting to a lady who happens to be now one of my colleagues at the family office. And when she saw my CV, oh yeah, Frank, of course I know, so it's such a small world. You never know where the opportunities are coming from, but it's really important to be in touch, with a lot of people. And my advice to my fellow students was always, guys, let's get out of the university now. Let's not wait until we graduate to say, hey guys, now we are for hire. We need to connect, and make, all these relationships before we go and look for a job. And I remember one of the program that we had was this ACI Monaco. So it's an organization, and they propose pretty much every Wednesday in the evening, some classes where professionals from Monaco banking, asset management teach, and they teach you derivatives, oil, stocks, different topics. So, and it's great to go there to build your knowledge, your expertise. That gives you a different point of view. In addition to maybe the IUM approach, you have this approach, from these professionals, and you get to meet people. So yeah, get out, be out there. That's my advice for you guys, really think about the next step, your job, not just about what grade you will have at the next, at the next exam. And the last question, what advice would you give to prospective students who are right with us tonight? Well, I think I gave you already a few advice, many advice. I don't want to, speak too long, but if you have some questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Well, you had everything in a row, so you had to make it up. No, thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. I think that there is one point that Frank raised that was very interesting, and maybe Gary and Camilla, you can give us also your insights regarding that, regarding the events and the different venues and different events actually, yes, that you attended in Monaco. What struck you most actually? What did you like most? What special event did you attend that you keep in mind today?
Yeah, so there are 2 events organized by IUM. I'm still used to attend. I'm still like going out, and it's in January is the networking events, and in September or the end of August, I don't remember, is at the beginning of the academical event.
Early September, yes.
September. So they are completely different because the one in September is helping new students to join the community, while in January is more important because it's networking events help the guys, new students to find new contacts and let us ask us all the questions about our jobs, how we found the internship and so on. So they're the most important, I would say. I don't know if Gary, you have other events I forgot.
I do remember these 2. Afterwards, for a long time ago, for me, 7 years now. Uh, but I do remember having attended many events. Now I don't really recall whether it was through IUM or not, but in Monaco, you will go into a lot of events and you just bump into events like this and you see people, because Monaco, as Frank said, is very small. Everyone is well connected. So everywhere you go, you will meet someone, you know, and then this is how you create your network weeks per week. And that's very interesting in Monaco, I say. So as I told you before, if you have the opportunity to meet someone and you have any question, do not hesitate to contact the person. Even if the answer is no, you will lose 5 minutes and an email. That's it. And most of the time, here in Monaco, people, they are very keen to meet young people and to exchange their career, their experiences and everything. So please do not hesitate whenever you have the opportunity to do so.
And usually everywhere you go, you will meet Gary. And that's what I'm saying. How many times have we met, you know? So it's really interesting. It's a small place, well connected. Yeah, I think there is a question when it comes. Do you see the questions, guys, as well?
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah,
I don't.
think that all
Yes, I do. I
panelists
do.
see it, you know?
Amazing.
I guess that yeah, we should read it because maybe yes, not all attendees can see that. The question is that when it comes to your background and previous experiences, how did the Master in Finance program prepare you for a change in your career towards an entrance in the financial industry? So Frank, you had an insight about that?
Yeah, I think it was a great preparation. I think the first step was first to recognize my drive, my passion, and my potential, and to take me on the program. I think that was, and you know, like kudos to the IUM to see talents, you know, to detect talents. I think that's really kudos to you guys. So that's the first step. Then when I was in the program, I think they gave, you know, different opportunities. I mean, many opportunities, right? Whether it's the career days. I don't know if you guys spoke about the career days already.
A bit, yeah.
We barely mentioned it.
Yeah, so you know, where you have 2 days, banks, asset management, you know, they just come to you, hedge funds, they present themselves, and then you have speed datings with them, so you can meet these companies, introduce yourself, have a speed date, 10-15 minutes, and then you can follow up with them. So I think that's a great opportunity. All the different meetings that you guys did as well, I think that was great. I think the CFA challenge was fantastic, what you guys did, you know, that really takes you out of your comfort zone totally, you know, it's additional work. It's like really doing some analyst work, you know, analyzing a company, and you're competing against the best schools. I was gonna say worldwide because it's a global competition. But you start obviously, you know, at a national level. We're competing with the top 18 best universities in France, and so that's really exciting. That gives you a great experience. You really get to understand what an analyst job is about. Like, you know, we flew to Paris and we met the investor relationship director from the company. Everyone was analyzing. we could ask them questions about the strategy, the prospects. And that was also a great opportunity that you guys gave us. And then I think also the one-on-one, the discussion that I could have with you guys, pointing me in the right direction, getting me to interact with the right people, to understand what are the possibilities, the opportunities, and making, you know, connections. I think that was also very valuable. And I think just inspiring us as well, you know, for the profession, you know, like really inspiring us, you know, giving us the right work ethics, you know. That's a lot of work. I mean, that's clearly, it's not a walk in the park. That's why you've got to also love finance to do that, you know. I think only the most motivated guys, they really stay up to the end, right? It's not okay, Monaco is great. You know, you have the olive trees, the blue sky, as you can see where Camilla is. It's lovely. You know, it's a great setup. You know, you have the Mediterranean Sea. It's gorgeous. You have everything, right? You have the ski mountains just behind us. You know, an hour and a half drive. You're there. You have the sea all the time. It's brilliant. But you're not just here on holiday, right? You're really here to work and to work a lot. So that's a lot of work. And I think you guys gave us this work ethics. Yeah, I think it's been very worthwhile for me. I can only, you know, highly recommend. Yeah.
Thank you very much to the three of you. Gregory, actually, we've been asking our students what advice they would give to future students, but maybe an advice from the program director would be also good. What would be your advice to the students who are planning to register to IUM, to apply to IUM?
I think that maybe one of the key advice I'd like to provide here is when you are starting to think about your master, when you're starting to imagine yourself in the program, you also have to go beyond that. You have to already imagine the following step. It doesn't mean that necessarily this is what you will be doing, but you need to enter this program both as a student, but in a certain way, slowly but surely ready to abandon your student skin. So you need to think about, like you would be as a professional, you need to enter this program as already if you were a professional. And so the learning is different because you don't learn for a grade or just because there's an assignment, but you learn because you need to know what we teach you, because out there you are about to use it. And so that would be really maybe a key mental frame to have when you join. So that means even before joining, you know, starting to be in that mindset, engaging with markets, engaging with financial material. Once you're there, going beyond just the simple assignment to try to learn as much as you can for you, so you know stuff, so you can progress towards what you really want to do later on, and that's essential. And so yeah, it requires clearly a fair amount of maturity, but it is absolutely essential if you want to get most of this program.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gregory.
Totally relate to that. I think that was really a kind of a surprise to most students, especially coming from a bachelor, you know, where at bachelor level, you are more fed, you know, like the right size, you know, it's, you know, you are tested on what you've learned in the class, whereas master level, it's really a level beyond where you will have some, you know, some test or some exercise, right, or homework on top on things you did not cover during the class, or things that are really stretching you beyond just what you saw in the class. And I think that's where the learning comes from as well. That really stretches you to find information, to learn by yourself. And when I say by yourself, it's probably not the right expression. It's learn together. It's not by yourself, because by yourself, you will have a very hard time. And so what we were doing, I remember, after class, we would stay together at the university till late, till basically people were kicking us out at 9. I remember when they were closing the university, and we were, you know, together like small groups. Maybe it rings a bell to you guys as well, right? Gary and Camila, we were sticking
Security
together.
was doing like, yeah, we have to close the university, get out.
Yeah. We were like, you know, like a rugby pack, you know, like a team, you know, and just like working together. What did you understand? How do you understand this? You know, like really helping each other to understand the material and do the homework for the next day. So it's a very different approach. It's a master level. Yeah.
Definitely.
And actually, when you work, I think I remember you were saying this, right, Professor? Is when you work, your boss is not going to tell you to give you all the ingredients and tell you A, B, C. You know, he will say, right, I need this for tomorrow morning. Do it, right? And sometimes it's like this, and so you need to do it. You need to stretch yourself, find information, find the resources. Go and do it, and that's what makes the difference, because you know people, they like, you know, this kind of go do it kind of attitude, and I think that's what we learn in the master. You don't have always the ABC and stuff and just do it. That's too easy. We don't really learn that much. Maybe at bachelor is fine, but when you're a master, it's a different level.
Yeah, so this is actually what most of the students with us tonight are going to experience. It's actually almost time to finish this webinar. Before we leave, well, most of you, well, many of you actually already know me because we've been in touch. You're already enrolled and ready to start your experience at IUM. Some of you are in the process. So in any case, what I will do, I will send you to the ones who are not in touch already with me, I will send you a quick email actually after the presentation so that you have my contact details. Because I will be your admission manager and will be able to answer all your questions, and also to put you in touch with Franck or Camilla or Gary. We'll be able also to get deeper into what they say tonight and to give you more insights also for those of you who would be interested in knowing more about their particular career path. So thank you very much to all our attendees. Thank you very much to all our panelists tonight. Franck, Camilla, Gary, thank you very much for joining us, for sharing with us your experience. Thank you, Gregory, for hosting this meeting. And thanks everybody for attending, and we hope to welcoming you to Monaco very soon. Thank you very much and have a very nice evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.